All right, well, let's jump into week 10 of Behind the Scenes. There's a lot of stuff here to talk about. A couple of things in particular that I'm kind of sectioning off here, and we'll jump into this. Here we go.
It's day 44, and we are here at Southside Studios in downtown Dallas.
And if you take a look inside, we have some brand new, incredible sets, and one set that we have seen before, but it's all pretty awesome.
So we're going to see a lot of this stuff, but really we're sectioning this behind the scenes week off into kind of two major sections. The first one being a reintroduction of a major character that we've known and that we've been seeing throughout all the seasons. Now, major character in the sense that he's huge in scripture, but hasn't been a major part of the Chosen quite yet. Yet we've seen him in several different kind of areas within the Chosen, and that would be King David. So we're going to see him again in these scenes here. So we're seeing a bunch of people here, what look like servants, maybe Bathsheba's servants within the palace. I'm not sure. I think this figure that's in the front, the female figure that's in the front, is Bathsheba. We'll actually get another picture of that later on, but we'll kind of keep on going. So we get that there. We also get some of these behind the scenes little looks at the decor and everything that's in this. Just a lion statue there, maybe hinting towards Lion of Judah, something else like that. Don't know. Also, we have behind the scenes confirmation that David, the actor who plays David, is actually on set. And so this is one picture of him along with this one. And these pictures, which seem like they're from this season, while it could be a different season, it could be from before, I think they are from this season. So hoping that's the case. If not, no worries. We know that he was on set for sure this week. So hopefully seeing more of him. And there's some really interesting things that may be coming up with David overall. So keep that in the back of your mind. We also see a bunch of behind the scenes from these different areas that they've been shooting at, including the jail cell in Machiris, where we saw John the Baptist before.
So cool.
And here's Jelaine obviously showing us some of the behind the scenes. As they said in that very first clip, they are done shooting in the Midlothian Capernaum city. Now they are in a special secondary set within Dallas that they're paying to use, obviously. And this is because they had certain sets made for this week in particular when they were going to be shooting here. While they have a soundstage, they have the city of Capernaum, they have all this stuff, they needed an extra space where they could build these larger sets, do these different things, and that includes like these shots with the kind of back in time shots with King David, as well as some other things that we're going to be seeing in a bit.
To be on this set. Hello.
So this is a screenshot of who I think is Bathsheba. I'm pretty sure of that. Let me just look real fast back at season 3, episode 8, just to make sure here. But I'm like 99% sure that's her. Yeah, I think so. Here she is in season 3, episode 8. She's got that headband and obviously a little bit different dress here. But I think that's her for sure. As we jump in there. Yeah, I think so. Yep, I think that's her. That means that this child is one of her children. So I'm assuming that's going to be... did I just forget his name? Solomon? Is that... Why am I forgetting his name? David. Solomon. Yes. I assume that's going to be him. So we'll see there what exactly is going on. There's a lamb here, which obviously can connect to Jesus, being a son of David, being the lamb, all that kind of stuff. So I do wonder what this scene is going to be about. I also wonder if they're going to do some sort of flashback here where... maybe David is dealing with all the stuff with Bathsheba after the fact, right? We've seen David in a lot of these good lights so far, but we haven't seen him in any bad light yet, right? We haven't seen him in the conflict with David and Bathsheba and Uriah, all that kind of stuff. And so I wonder if we'll if we'll see kind of what's going on there. And I'm hoping we'll see some good stuff there. I think they're going to be using King David as sort of like a connection point, just like they did in season 3 and in season 2. And so, yeah, we'll kind of see where that lands, but this could be really interesting for sure. Now, this is Adam Drake's family. Adam Drake being the assistant director, kind of the second in command on the Chosen set. And he is an amazing part of the set and just really cool stuff. But his family being there gives us some different angles of seeing the set altogether. So this looks like, it definitely looks more back in time. Like this looks more like David's time than it does, let's say, something that we know now. So I would assume that this is King David's chamber. And again, the same thing that we saw in season 3 with David's chamber being filled with these lions, like, and being the Lion of Judah, like all these different things, right? Like these connections that we're seeing. We see lions everywhere in this picture as well, even though they're a little bit harder to see, but you can see them like here underneath the table. And then you also see them up here near the bed here. And we've got some sofas around a table. This is probably where they would eat, would be my guess. It's not like a living room like we would have today, I'm sure. But really cool to see some of these behind the scenes shots nonetheless. We get the shot of the carriage. Now, this is an interesting shot because I think they're doing specific shots with the carriage, finishing up episode 1, where we're going to see John the Baptist die at Machiris and having to do with Joanna as she gets into the carriage and heads out. So that's going to be really cool. And we continue on. We see another angle of that kind of living room, eating area, whatever that is. We see a large fireplace there, again, with more lion kind of iconography. Very cool. We also see these urns on top. I don't know if they're urns, but they're jars of some sort on top of the fireplace. I wonder if that has any significance. I really don't know. What would have been really cool would to be if we see Goliath's sword. I would love to see Goliath's sword. I know that David kept it, and it was on display in some areas, I believe. And that would just be such a cool Easter egg if we saw Goliath's sword. That'd be amazing. More images from behind the scenes. We see that his kids actually went to the jail as well. Remember, this is where John is kept. And remember, this is a new studio that they're actually setting this exact same jail in. And so before it was at the Chosen's studio, but now it's at a different studio. And yeah, they're just checking it out, basically. So these are Adam Drake's kids. He's the assistant director. The kids are there just because they wanted to hang out with their dad. They're not they're not actors in the sets or anything. They're just there because they wanted to check out what Dad does for work, basically. If you're liking this video and you want to see more from us, it would really help us out if you would subscribe to our channel. YouTube really takes into account how much people like and subscribe and look at different videos. So it would really help us if you were to give some of those signals to YouTube so that they know our channel's good and it deserves to grow. Anyway, let's get back to the video. This is the last day of filming for this week, and they went to another amazing set. Now, earlier on, before they even started filming The Chosen Season 4, we saw that they actually had this cave that they were taking pictures of, and we weren't sure exactly why, if maybe they were using that as a location scout to go there and film, but it looks like they were using that as a reference in order to build their own caves at this Dallas studio location. So here we are in this cave of some sort, and we're not exactly sure what this is, though if you stick around, I may have a few hints as to what this could be, but we'll see. So let's continue on. Let's watch this and see a little bit of behind the scenes of what this place is. And then you leave your gifts in the comments below. I'd love to hear in the chat live or in the comments below afterwards what you're thinking about this location. What do you think it could be? What biblical reference could they be bringing in? What is this? Because I think a lot of people have different understandings of what this might be. So let's check this out. Obviously a big hole in the top so they could put a light up there. Obviously you don't want to be shooting in a purely dark cave. That would not be very much fun.
So when we're watching this, asking for
really interesting. So this isn't just like a normal cave. Obviously, there's some ladders, there's some torches, there's some fires. Looks like there's supplies in here as well. So someone is living in here, they're hiding in here, something like that. Let me know what you think it might be.
Oh, we're gonna fire you too. We got to warm you up.
Oh my gosh, this set is so amazing. It is day 46 and we are inside this amazing cave. And well, that's all I'm allowed to say right now.
Tomorrow. When are you leaving?
So again, same things here. We're really not seeing any actors on set, so we really can't say who is in this scene, but we can see all these supplies. We know it's on day 46. Just kind of adding up the evidence that we do have here.
I think tomorrow by driving. I'm driving.
Okay. We're thinking like one. Yeah, we're thinking like.
So really interesting there. I'm not sure what this could be, but here are my kind of some guesses that I'm seeing. And let me go back here so we can see the cave again. Here are some of the guesses that I'm seeing, especially from chat. So we see the cave of Lazarus. We see a lion's den, maybe. Okay, so yeah, my first thought was, okay, cave. We know that Lazarus is going to be a big thing in this season because he has to die in this season, knowing the timeline of the Bible. So he has to die and be resurrected in this season. Most likely that's going to happen like episode 7, episode 8 would be my guess. However, we don't quite know exactly what's going to happen. So, I don't think that's it just because this isn't a tomb, right? This is not like a place where you would lay a body. This is obviously someone's like living in here. I don't think it's a lion's den. I don't think we're going to be talking about Daniel in this season, although it's very possible. It would be really, really cool if we did. I would love that as well. Here's my thought, and a lot of people are actually putting it in here, which is great. I love that you guys are thinking the same way that I'm thinking, is David and his men. So we've seen David on set this week. We've also seen him in other scenes doing different things. However, we know that there's a period in David's life when he is running away from King Saul because Saul wants to kill him because he's afraid of him. He doesn't want him to take over, right? But there is a specific moment in En-Gedi where he is in a cave, okay? And there is some more... definitely some more evidence of this that we're going to share a little bit later on when we get to our big extra thing that we're going to talk about here. But I'm going to take you to that verse specifically, and let's jump into it right here. So if we go to 1 Samuel chapter 24, and we start right here, David spares Saul's life. When Saul returned from following the Philistines, he was told, "Behold, David is in the wilderness of En-Gedi." If you don't know, En-Gedi is actually an oasis in the desert. So it's right next to the Dead Sea, and it's actually this beautiful, lush forest with a waterfall flowing through it. There's like deer that run through it. It's really beautiful. One of the most beautiful places that I love to see when we go to Israel. And this specific area is a great place to hide because there's a ton of caves in this area where you can jump from cave to cave to cave and you can keep on hiding in this specific area. And so as we go through, he says, Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of all Israel and went to seek David and his men in front of the wild goats' rocks. So that is specific, right? He's seeking David and his men in front of the wild goats' rocks. And he came to the sheepfolds by the way, where there was a cave, and Saul went in to relieve himself. So David is living in a cave with his mighty men, right? And Saul comes to that same area. There's a ton of caves around this area. And then Saul has to go pee, basically. So he goes to relieve himself. And what does David do? Because he has a chance to kill him here. And the men of David said to him, "Here is the day of which the Lord has said to you, Behold, I will give your enemy into your hand, and you shall do to him as it shall seem good to you." Then David arose and stealthily cut off a corner of Saul's robe. So he didn't kill him, right? He spares his life and he cuts off a corner of his robe. And afterward, and the whole time Saul doesn't recognize this is happening. And afterward, David's heart struck him because he had cut off a corner of Saul's robe. He had said to his men, "The Lord forbid that I should do this thing to my Lord." And this is the really important part that I want you to keep in mind for when we're going to go over our big blockbuster moment later on. The Lord's anointed. Seeing he is the Lord's anointed. Okay, now remember that. So David persuaded his men with these words and did not permit them to attack Saul. And Saul rose up and left the cave and went away. Afterward, David also arose and went out of the cave and called after Saul, "My lord, the king." And when Saul looked behind him, David bowed with his face to the earth and paid homage. So David is being humble here. Even though Saul is trying to kill him, he's still being kind and loving and humble. And David said to Saul, "Why do you listen to the words of men who say, 'Behold, David seeks you harm'? Behold, this day your eyes have seen how the Lord gave you today into my hand in the cave. And some told me to kill you, but I spared you. He said, I will not put out my hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed. See, my father, see the corner of your robe in my hand." So he's calling him my father. It's like an endearing thing, right? Because he's close, right? He's best friends with Saul's son, right? "See, my father, see the corner of your robe in my hand. For by the fact that I cut off the corner of your robe and did not kill you, you may know and see that there is no wrong or treason in my hands. I have not sinned against you, though you hunt my life to take it. May the Lord judge between me and you, and may the Lord avenge me against you, but my hand shall not be against you. As the proverb of the ancients says, out of the wicked comes wickedness, but my hand shall not be against you. After whom has the king of Israel come out? After whom do you pursue? After a dead dog, after a flea. May the Lord therefore be judge and give sentence between me and you, and see to it, and plead my cause and deliver me from your hand." So after this, Saul kind of like yells at David, et cetera, but I think this is definitely it. Like if we go back here, we're seeing this cave, we're seeing where Saul's or David's men could have hid out here, and how they could definitely live in this cave and be like chilling here, doing all this different stuff. We see a bunch of stuff. This is way too much for one person to live in a cave, right? And what other person do we see in scripture that would make sense for this week in particular? Now, since they filmed it on this week in particular, we also know that many of the main characters of The Chosen are actually not here at all. So they're not even like around to be shooting these scenes. We don't see any of our main characters when they're posting on Instagram and stuff that they're around in the area and they're shooting. And the only people that we saw on set were these kind of extracurricular characters when we're going back in time, or we're talking about Herodias' daughter, or different things like that. And so we don't really see what's going on here in particular. But yeah, I think this is going to be really, really cool. One of my favorite scenes in scripture is to see David kind of control the narrative here and see what's kind of going on. I love it so much. So I think that's going to be an absolutely killer scene. Thank you so much for checking out this small part of our live stream. You can check out the entire live stream and full podcasts over on our Patreon at patreon.com/thesnipelife. This is by far the best way to help us in our ministry. So thank you so much to those that are on our Patreon already. And we'll see the rest of you over there, hopefully. We'd love to hit 300 patrons this year, so you could really, really help us out. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.